So let's go. All right, cool. So welcome back everyone to another exciting episode of the Doctor to Doctor podcast. And we have some exciting things to discuss today. And we have some amazing people on the podcast today, which I am excited to just have conversation with them. Now, you might have heard the words Ozempic, Wegovy, and sometimes in the media might be controversial, especially with weight loss. But these are important drugs that are used in the management of diabetes and weight management. And today, maybe they could even be used in fighting cancer. And so we're going to get into that today. But we have a specialist, my brother, my friend. We have Dr. Colton Jones on the podcast today with us. And he's going to be breaking it down in terms of what the research is saying and how this drug could actually be the paving the path to fighting colonic cancer. Colton, it's good to have you.
Shaquille,
How are you feeling?
feeling great, man. It's good to be here and good to see you again.
Yes, it is, man. It has been a while, but we have went to school together. We did interact, and it's just so amazing to see what you're doing on the world stage, man.
Yeah,
And I'm so proud of you. And keep doing what you're doing, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Awesome. So we do want to get into the meat of the matter. But before we even talk about the mission that you're on, we do like to just discuss the man behind the mission. So if it is that you could just tell us about your background in medicine and how you found your way into the work that you're doing now.
Yeah, so I'm originally from the Bahamas. I'm actually from a very rural island in the Bahamas, 2,000 people. So essentially, I was raised by a community, and we didn't have doctors on the island. And unfortunately, I experienced a childhood tragedy where one of my cousins they were killed in an accident, and I
Mm,
think that's where God put the desire in my heart to pursue medicine. But I didn't have a lot of role models to follow, and so I learned from my mistakes essentially. And
mhm,
one thing that God blessed me with was the ability to read, and so I was an avid reader, and that led me into medicine. Pursued university, went to UWI where we met. We were in
mhm,
the same class. Graduated, and then did internship in the Bahamas, and then I took my board exams and successfully passed them, did well, and marched into residency at Jefferson Einstein Hospital. And heme was not always on my mind, but through some life situations, losing one of my best friends, Rajay, who was also part of our class, to testicular cancer, and also losing my grandmother to cancer, I think God placed a seed in my heart to pursue, this subspecialty. And so now I'm a hematology oncology fellow at the University of Texas, San Antonio, Mays Cancer Center, MD Anderson. So it's my journey.
mm. Well said, man. And I'm very grateful for the work that you're doing. Rajal is actually one of my best friends as well. And so, may he rest in glory. And just thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Now, Colton, I hear that they call you the GLP man, the GLP guy, right?
Yeah, man.
Uh, your badge of honor. Can you tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about that and how you came to get that nickname?
Yeah. So my mom was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes about 2 to 3 years ago. And I actually have a strong family history of type 2 diabetes and multiple family members. And her A1C was unrecordable. And so, I was just looking for ways to improve, my mom's comorbidities and medications that, she could actually benefit from,
Right.
especially GLP-1s. And then after that, I started researching more in depth the anti-cancer properties because I also have a strong family history of cancer, multiple cancers, colon, breast, stomach. And so I was looking for ways that I could, reduce the cancer risk starting in my family, with my parents, my aunts, my grandma. And that is what led me to GLPs and their potential anti-cancer benefits.
The discussion that we were having actually in regards to the conviction one should have in pursuing the mission. And I think it's very honorable of you to note that, hey, this is something that's affecting me, this is something that's affecting my family, and I want to be the change. I want to be the difference. I do think that does help in terms of a person when they do have set out a goal and a mission, and it helps them to just supersede, help them to just break through barriers, which you are clearly doing. So, congrats on that, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know that you said, hey, you didn't have any doctors back where you were. You
Mhm.
didn't have any sort of role models per se. How was that journey in terms of just paving your own path?
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely difficult. Um, like I was saying, I had to learn from my mistakes, and I made many mistakes.
Hmm.
So I essentially had to learn from my mistakes. But I think one thing that helped me through it was my faith in God, and
Right.
knowing that this was God's calling for my life, and knowing that I was not alone. That I could rely on God and put my faith in Him. And as long as I did my part, whether that was studying, showing up for clinicals, doing well in my exams, God was going to do His part. So even
Right.
though I learned through my mistakes and through my failures,
Hmm.
I know God was there pushing me, to be the best that I could possibly be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, bro. So I know you bring up research, the topic of research,
Hmm.
and I know research can be very intimidating to a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And so, how was that in regards to you navigating now, going from the bedside medicine and incorporating research to such a level where you're now on the global stage and impacting people? Your research now impacting people all over the world.
Yeah. Good question. When I marched into residency at Jefferson Einstein Hospital, believe it or not, I had no research on my CV, not even a case report.
That's
So
hard to be.
I had no idea how to conduct research.
Right.
Even after going through, we had a research course in medical school. I mean, it's like that knowledge went straight out of my mind. So I
Yeah.
started residency fresh, and luckily, through the support of the program, they introduced us to an electronic medical database called TrinetX. And this is the
Hmm.
same database that I actually use to conduct, my landmark study that's spreading globally right now. And so through a few friends that were, good at research, I spent some time with them, and they taught me some of the basics. But essentially, I self-taught myself most of the platform. So
Hmm.
again, self-taught, just being inquisitive, wanting to know, wanting to learn. And through months and months and months of trial and error, I finally figured out how to not only run the analysis, but also understand the analysis, understand what I was doing, and understand how to interpret the results. And I
Hmm.
began building on that research foundation. And eventually, by the end of residency, applying for the match, I had over 20 something publications, and publications in some of the top, cancer and blood journals in the world. And by the end of
Yeah.
residency, I had about 40 publications. Uh,
Go hard and done.
yeah,
40.
yeah,
Ah, all right. Nah, man, you're killing it, man. You're killing it, and you're research king, GLP man, research king, all in one. I
yeah,
appreciate
man.
that, bro. I see where um you the journey makes sense in regard to you having to learn how to do things your own,
Mhm.
interpreting the information around you, finding, and now you're now putting that into the research.
Yeah,
That's impressive. That's
yeah,
impressive.
man.
Now, I'm gonna ask you to, if it is that you can just give us a little crash course, because I know social media is a thing, and
Mhm.
sometimes people can get a wrong ideology or wrong information in terms of what you know drugs are in terms of medicine, in terms of like Ozempics. When people think of that, they say, "Oh, celebrities use that to lose weight."
Yeah,
That's what comes to mind. So if it is that you can just give us a simplified crash course in terms of who are what are GLPs and who should they be prescribed to?
yeah. So GLP stands for glucagon-like peptide 1 agonist. And
Hmm.
these medications, essentially, they're naturally produced, in the body. They help to regulate insulin sensitivity, They delay, gastric emptying or emptying of the stomach so people feel full more. And
Hmm.
so they're initially approved for the management of type 2 diabetes. And so for
Hmm.
decades, GLPs treated type 2 diabetes until most recently, within the last 10 years, it was found out that, hey, these medications also promote weight loss. And
Hmm.
so in the past 5 years, the FDA approved GLP-1s for the management of obesity. And now a person's used for both diabetes and for weight reduction.
Oh,
Um, Now, however, we're now seeing a trend that
okay.
GLPs, in addition to improving insulin sensitivity for type 2 diabetes, managing obesity, now we know that they also have anti-cancer properties, which is an
Mm,
added benefit to these drugs right now.
okay.
Yeah.
So was that just stumbled upon by accident or just based upon the outcome of how did we find out that it has
Yeah.
a anti-cancer effect?
Yeah. So researchers in the lab, I think within the last 6 years, they injected GLP medications into different cancer cell lines to see if it inhibited cancer growth.
Mm,
And what the researchers found was that it inhibited colon cancer growth, breast cancer growth. And so these publications then later came out within the last 5 years showing anti-cancer properties. Yeah. And that's how it came about, basic science investigation.
so tell me, Colton, based upon what you're seeing in your research, seeing that these drugs now have anti-cancer properties, do you see that based upon what you're seeing, is it that we're now going to shift and probably prescribe them or use them in the management of cancer?
Yeah, that's a big potential. I just wanted to highlight the background of GLPs in cancer. It's not well studied. It's not well studied, especially in the clinical setting.
Hmm.
Um, and what we know so far is that this could potentially be an added benefit in addition to managing diabetes, obesity. These drugs, based on all of the data coming out, as well as my study that I'm doing, it's
Right.
showing that it could prevent cancer. And currently, we have no great FDA approved medications for the prevention of the majority of cancers in the world today, which is why
Oh,
this study is a landmark, mind blowing, practice changing potential study.
I see. So essentially, you're saying not much work has been done in regards to approving medication to use it in the
Correct.
field. Okay. Okay. So people aren't using Ozempics or these medications for cancer treatment, but
Correct.
there is a likelihood that it can be used in the future and
That's right.
approved for same.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm, that's
Yeah.
impressive. No, I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we see new drugs somewhere, some of them we can't pronounce, come on TV. So we're looking at the ads and it said, don't, if you take this, make sure you don't have certain conditions because it
Mhm.
might cause bleeding,
Mhm.
irritation, other cancers. Now, what are some of the adverse effects of, say, GLPs that we now have to consider? Because if, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mhm.
GLPs can cause thyroid cancer?
Yeah, that's correct. So, scientists have long been studying these GLP medications, and one of the major, it's a rare side effect, but it can
Yeah.
happen. So
Mm,
it can cause medullary thyroid cancer
hmm.
or thyroid cancer related to multiple endocrine neoplasia, which are genetic syndromes that increase somebody's risk of thyroid cancer. So this is
Mm,
a fact that it can cause that in people who have a genetic predisposition or
right.
family history. But in addition to that, GLPs also more commonly cause a lot of GI side effects, things like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. There's this new thing I would call the Ozempic face, where
Mm,
people lose so much weight that it actually causes them to lose the muscle and fat mass within their face. So
mm,
yeah, it like thins out the face, and you have this like grotesque looking face.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting. So essentially, we now have to, I guess, based upon further research, we are now going to have to do a benefit risk analysis
that's
and
right.
then make the adjustments for same, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Oh, that's interesting so far. So, what's the most surprising thing that you've come across in your research?
Yeah, so I think the most surprising thing, and I haven't released the data results for these as yet, so I'm
Right.
going to be like very brief. But in addition
You heard it here
preventing,
first,
yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah. In addition to preventing colon cancer when compared to aspirin, we are now seeing GLPs also reducing the incidence of most obesity related cancers. Things like breast cancer, things
Mm.
like pancreatic, hepatocellular carcinoma, certain leukemias, multiple myeloma. So this is widespread across multiple cancers. And if this is
Wow.
FDA approved, we literally could have the first medication for the primary prevention of cancer across multiple cancer spectrums. I mean, this is huge. This is
That
big.
is
On a
fine.
global level, bro. This is big.
It is big. It
Yeah.
is big. Wow. Kudos to you, man. You're doing some amazing stuff out there. Uh, question in regards to your approach to research and making all these groundbreaking achievements um, and discoveries. Like, is it that you have a team around you guiding you, or is it that you have a mentor? What's the approach in regards to research?
Yeah, so I am so lucky and blessed to have a team of, and they're not just my co-authors, they're my friends. Uh,
Mm,
Carisha Befield, we did medical school with.
yeah.
She's a part of my research group. Danielle
Nice.
Lewis from Jamaica is a part of my research group. I have a few friends
Yes.
from residency. I
Mm-hmm.
do have a senior author. However, her role is she helps with editing. I mainly run the analysis myself and write it up myself. But I'm not the GLP man without my team, and so I want to give the props to my team as well. They know who they are. Yeah,
Yeah. Amazing. So you have the man behind the mission, and I have the people behind the guy. So that's great because I do know with every great person there is usually a great group of supportive personnel,
absolutely.
friends, mentors who are helping them to push past their limits. So it's good to hear that persons who we have, and it's so fun. The person who you sit beside in school can
Yeah, you would never
be that
imagine.
guy, be that guy. So
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, and I'm really proud not only of you but the team that is supporting you to make these groundbreaking discoveries.
yeah, man.
It's a good time to be alive. Thank you, guys. Thank you for making my life exciting, man.
We appreciate that.
So I do want to ask more personal question because I do know that sometimes putting in the work is difficult in regards to late night staying up, uh, dealing with getting information, and going through all of that. So, how has that affected your mental in this space, in this time?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely has. In order to conduct research and not only conduct research, but to be good at it and produce research that has the potential to change how we manage and practice things on a global level. I mean, it requires time away, not only from fellowship, I'm an oncology fellowship, time away from your loved ones, my fiance, my family, time away from the people that I love, time away from the things that I enjoy in life, like being outdoors. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So it's a lot of sacrifice. Many days, I mean, I'm just here in the room praying to God, asking Him for like new thoughts, new ideas, something that's practice changing, something that could potentially affect somebody's life later
Yeah,
down. Um, it takes a toll on your mental health, but I thank God for one, not only my salvation that I know God and I know who I
mm,
am in God, but I thank God for the people that He is allowed to be surround me and encourage me and uplift me. I thank God for my church family. They've been a
man.
big source of encouragement. So I have a great support group. I'm nothing without them.
Great. I think that's rich, and I think that's noble of you to say. And I'm really happy that you also have a relationship with Christ. I think that once someone discovers their identity in Christ and the purpose for which they were put on this earth by just having close communication with Him, I think sky is the limit
Yeah,
because you
definitely.
start operating within your purpose and within your calling. And so I'm really happy and I'm really grateful that you know Christ. I'm really grateful that you are operating within His will. And I'm just really grateful that you are impacting people and doing kingdom work.
Yeah,
So keep that up, man. I appreciate you. I love you, man. And I'm just very inspired by you. So
thank you,
thank you
man.
so much for inspiring not just me, but the people on
Yeah,
the podcast as well. So pick up yourself, Dr. Colton Jones.
appreciate
Now,
that.
you have persons who want to follow and probably aren't surrounded by a group of people just like yourself. Now, for
Mhm.
someone who wants to take a similar path in terms
Yeah.
of research, innovation, impact, what advice would you give them early on?
Yeah, I think it's okay to not know what you want to do. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been in that situation where I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
Um, but if you remain grounded, um,
Hmm.
if you're gonna have closed doors. I always tell people this. I've had so many closed doors, but if you remain grounded and you remain persistent in what you know is God's will for your life,
Hmm.
God is going to open up that door one day. It's going to take many closed doors for some people, but if you're persistent, you trust God, you allow Him to lead you. One day that door is going to open up for you. And when that door opens up, nobody could take away a blessing, man. I'm telling you, real life testimony of my life.
Amen. Yeah, and sometimes I think, as you say, the closed doors are a blessing. Because I always say you don't want to be climbing the wrong ladder, and then at the end of the day, you're on top of a hill that you were never meant to be on top of, and you were never meant to climb in the first place. So I'm glad that you've learned to be humble in the face of closed doors and to be persistent and to persevere. I think that's also a great quality to have in a leader. And right now, I do think that you are not just a leader in your own right, but also a global leader. I pray that you continue to make, you know, the developments, the this keep striving for success and just keep inspiring people like myself.
Appreciate that, man.
Of course, bro. Now, when it is that you look at the future, when you look ahead, what kind of legacy do you hope your work leaves? Not just in medicine, but in people.
Yeah, you know, I'm a faith-based man. It has to be something faith-based. I just want my life
Hmm.
to point people to God, bro. Because, at the end of the day, it was one thing that we're certain is we're gonna die. The Bible says our lives is but a vapor, a mist.
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
appears for a little while and then it vanishes away. So if my life and if the way that I live my life and conduct my life could point people to God, whether that's through this medication, helping people with cancer, and them finding my story and realizing that, I followed God and I believe in God, and this whole idea actually came from Christ. If that points people to God and they get to know God for themselves, then I think my life was worth living. And that's all I want. I just want my life to point others to Christ, really. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's great, man. That's great. No, just asking like, what's next for Dr. Colton Jones?
Yeah. So this GLP and aspirin study is now considered what we call a landmark study. By landmark, I mean it's the first study of its kind, GLP versus aspirin, which is huge.
Hmm.
So we are now writing up the manuscript to submit to JAMA Oncology, which is one of the most prestigious publishing medical journals in the world for cancer research. So
Right.
the plan is to submit this study there. We also have at least five more studies showing benefit in other cancers that we're going
Mm.
to submit to ASCO coming up in May. So people
Nice.
can stay tuned for the results of that study. It's actually mind blowing. And
Right.
then now we need to validate these findings. We need to confirm these findings. So
Right.
we are in the process of doing a randomized clinical trial of GLP-1s and aspirin in patients to see if it reduces colon cancer and confirm the findings. If these findings are confirmed, this drug could potentially receive FDA approval for the prevention of cancer, which could literally impact, I would say, billions of people on this earth.
Billions of people.
Billions of people on this earth.
Man, I feel so blessed to be in your presence, bro. I'm gonna look back and say, yep, I interviewed that guy.
Yeah, man.
But I appreciate you. Now, one of the things that I do like to do is provide practical steps to help people who are on similar journeys here, because I do
Mhm.
believe in community. I do believe in motivation and action-based faith as well.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna ask you, what are some of the steps? Because I know you are specializing in research. You have now over 40 publications and on your way to impacting billions of people. Now, what are the steps one should take when they are going into research to ensure that their research has the impact that yours is having right now?
Yeah, I would say one, find yourself a good mentor. And sometimes they're difficult to find. You find them through trial and error, but when
Mhm.
you find them, you're gonna know
Right.
because a good mentor, in addition to listening to you and determining what sort of research best fits you, they're going to
Mhm.
be hands-on in your research. They're going to help with the editing. They're going to help restructure your methodology or help assist with writing the methodology. They're going to help point you in the right direction. And when you find one, you're going to know. It took me years to find one, but I have a mentor like that right now. And
Mhm.
she's made such an amazing impact in my life and my research conducting skills that has
Mhm.
actually caused me to be now on this level of research conducting. If it
Right.
weren't for her and her critique and her pulling me up to her standards and wanting me to supersede her standards, I would not be where I am today. So
Mhm.
having a great mentor, finding a great research mentor, is key. The second thing is thinking about studies that are practice changing. There are a lot of researchers out there that, you know, all they want to do is replicate what somebody else did or, just maybe add on a little bit to what somebody did. No, you have to have a revolutionary mindset. Think about
Right.
something that has never been done and
Right.
do it. And that is my mindset. What has never been done research wise and how can I do this? And that is actually what led to this GLP and aspirin study. It had never been done before. So I wanted to
Mhm.
do it. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So if I have it correct, it's ensuring that one, you put yourself in environments where you can learn and grow. Two, it is also ensuring that you have a mentor to guide you along the way. And then three, always be mindful of what you're thinking in terms of think big
Yeah.
and then think even bigger than that.
Yeah.
And
That's
always
right.
always push yourself.
Yeah.
Man. you're you're impressive, man. And I really appreciate not just that you are doing research that changing people's life, but you are in the process changing lives as
Yeah.
well. And so I think that the work of a man should speak for himself, and the work that you're doing is speaking for itself. So continue doing great work, man, and I just appreciate uh you just being here and taking time out to just speak to us in terms of some of the work that you're doing and how it will be affecting not just us but our children and their
Yeah.
children and their children's
That's right.
children.
That's
Building
right.
legacy in medicine.
That's right, bro.
Legacy in medicine. I like that one. I like that one. So I do want to thank you for being here, and I have no questions. You have answered all our questions. You have inspired us, and I think people are going to leave today not only saying, "Wow, this is what's being done in medicine," but also this is what is being done in the Caribbean in terms of people like me or
Yeah.
people that I'm sitting next to. I can do something. You know,
Yeah.
I can make a change in this world
Yeah.
just by first dealing with my mindset. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Colton Jones, for coming here on the podcast today to speak to us and just let us know what's happening in the world of research, and also providing practical steps on how it is that we can position ourselves to do groundbreaking work and also to impact medicine in turn on a legacy basis. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Shaquille. Thank you for having me, man. I enjoyed this time. I want to end by saying, I got to big up UE for the training that they gave us. Believe it or not,
Mm.
you go through UE, you're going to be an exceptional doctor. So
Ah,
gotta big up our alma mater, UWI. And I also want to big up, all of those kids out there that, they don't have the financial support. They're
mm,
doing things for the first time, the first doctors in their family. All the ghetto youths out there in the Caribbean that,
yeah.
where I come from, you can achieve greatness. Believe in yourself, believe in God, keep pushing, keep sacrificing, reach for the stars. Anything is possible.
Reach for the stars. Anything is possible. I believe in that. And thank you, man. So, guys, I hope this impacted you as much as it impacted me. And just thank you so much for being here and just being a part of this community, which we're growing, as we do plan to ensure that we continue to bring you into the realm of groundbreaking medicine, people like Dr. Colton Jones, who are changing lives by just fully invested in the work that they're doing. And we thank you. So if this was valuable to you, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who might need this, or persons who want to be inspired, because medicine is more, because we are more. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode. Blessings. Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
bro. Come on, this was good. I enjoyed it, man.